So you heard a little bit about me, and that was a wonderful introduction. I really appreciate it. I'd like to learn a little bit about you. So the first thing I want to know is, how many of you know how to spend money? If you know how to spend money, stand up. Stand up. If you know how to spend money, I want everybody who knows how to spend money, stand up. Now, would you please look around? Can you see all the way to the back of the room? Can the people in the back see all the way to the front? Spending money and knowing how to spend money is one of the most powerful tools we have to protect the environment, and you all know how to do it. I'm going to talk about the way to spend money so that it can protect you and your family and this incredible planet that we all live on. Now, I don't know about you, but my mother always told me, never talk about money. Right? You can, and you think about it, we talk about our underwear, we talk about sex, we talk about birth control, but money, it's a no-no, right? You don't talk about money. Well, I love talking about money. And you know why? Because we all have so much money. We do. Not just buying cheese doodles and diapers. We're buying 14% more electronics than men. We're buying more cosmetics and clothes. That's sort of a no-brainer. We're buying just as many cars. We're buying almost as many tools as men. Women spend more money at Home Depot than men do. And my husband said, no, that's not true. And he said, I go to Home Depot. And I said, well, what do you do when you get there? And he said, I call you. And I said, well, if you don't call me, why not? And he said, because you gave me the list. Math. If we're averaging, each one of us, 2,000 people in this room, each managing around $50,000 of household income, how much does that amount to? It's $100 million just in this room. And this is one of these things that gets better as you get older. Because the older we get, actually, the more women we have, the more money we have access to. So when you think about what the future holds a world in which you have far more economic clout than you have today. American women control more economic clout than the GDPs of Saudi Arabia, Russia, China, and Japan. Japan is the world's third largest economy. Why are we have more economic clout than the entire country of Japan. So why aren't we telling the manufacturers of products in China and every other country in the world what to make? If you're a mother, would you raise your hand? If you have or had a mother, would you raise your hand? That's where it all starts, right? We're all the CEOs of our households. Well, we are. We're the chief environmental officers of our households. Why? Because every purchase that we make or that we decide not to make affects our environment and the global environment. I don't know about you, but I know I'm mad about bisphenol A. I mean, we know it's toxic. We know it causes diabetes. We know it's linked to heart disease. So let's put it in baby bottles. Let's put it in our water bottles. Let's put it in the lining of baby formula. That's absurd. And yet, last week, or maybe it was 2 weeks ago, the FDA had hearings on bisphenol A, and did they get any closer to getting this stuff out of the food system? No. So we have to keep pushing, certainly, for legislation to regulate this stuff, but in the meantime, we've got some options. We don't buy products that contain bisphenol A. We just don't do it. We've got $100 million in this audience right here to say we're not going to do that. I don't know about you, but I don't want my kids drinking growth hormone when I pour them a glass of milk. right? I don't want to worry about mad cow disease if I'm making hamburgers for my family for dinner. I can think of a lot of really great uses for my breasts. Using them as a dispensary for fire retardant is not one of them. What about climate change? You know, we think we're motivated to do something about climate change, but is it really affecting us? I mean, think about that big sheet of ice that just fell off the tip of Greenland. If anybody's been to Greenland, would you stand up? One person, okay. So I think we've got a little bit of work to do. We talk about these issues that affect us in the most abstract terms. But what if I said, if there's anybody in the room who's allergic to poison ivy, would you please stand up? Stand up. If you're allergic to poison ivy, stand up. Almost everyone in the room is allergic to poison ivy. Now, what if I told you that because of global warming and climate change, poison ivy is getting worse? The vines, those ugly, hairy vines, are getting thicker and hairier, the leaves are getting bigger, and the oil that makes us scratch so much is becoming more potent. And why is that happening? Because of climate change. Now, suddenly, doesn't it seem like, I can relate? It's really important to buy products that have been certified by a third party. It reduces the confusion for you, but what does it do for manufacturers? It forces them to set the bar higher than they would normally set it for themselves. And you know, manufacturers complain and they say, well, that's expensive. You know, if I have to go through that certification process, it's going to cost me $20,000. But you know, I think if they can spend $2 million on a 30-second Super Bowl ad, don't you think they could spend $20,000 getting products certified so we know they're safe? About compact fluorescent light bulbs. The first CFL I bought cost me $25. $25 for a light bulb. But I actually believed the writing on the package that told me I would earn $60 over the life of the bulb, and almost just as good that I wouldn't have to change it for 7 years. So that calculation, I call it the green math, when you look at what the payoff is going to be compared to what the individual upfront investment is. I mean, I actually saw that as an investment in my retirement account. So their need for profit gives you power. And because you spend 85 cents of every dollar in the marketplace, you have got a whole planet full of power. You have as much power as there are products on your grocery store shelves, at Home Depot, at Best Buy, at Sports Authority, and at your garden center. And ladies, it is time to use it.